So simple. Open up inner voice for me. You see, if you hit record and you start speaking into the microphone. Testing 1, 2, 3. Did we testing 1, 2, 3? We're not hooked up, are we?
I may have,
Oh.
I've redirected the...
Okay, we'll look at it in a sec. All they have to do is speak in there for about 10 to 30 seconds, and you're done. This is the same engine, software engine, that all of the other companies are using. And I'll be the first to tell you that. We all buy it from the same source. We do the graphics differently. We don't make it complicated. That's not what we're about. We want it to be simple, and we want it to be easy to do. They speak. Did we switch it over yet or not yet? No, we can do it later. In fact, we'll come back. We'll come back to your voice. This is a program, though, that you're going to want to use because it looks at the emotional state of your people, of your clients. On your clients, how many, by show of hands, how many of your clients' core issue would you link back to an emotion? I've never seen an ailment or a disease that's not directly linked to an emotional anchor. So finding out what their emotions are is really important. Now, here's another thing. When we were taught in hypnosis, never have anybody else in the room. Just the hypnotist, and the client. And the reason for that is some real personal information may come forward. Same thing will happen with you. The same thing will happen with you if you have more people in a room watching a scan. I did one scan with a couple, and I don't do this anymore. And you won't either. Sits down, I'm scanning the wife, I'm doing all the scans. Well, the husband said, well, I'd like to see how I do. So I said, okay. He sat down, put it on, we scanned him, and up come chlamydia and gonorrhea. That was like World War III in that room. This is something that, this information is personal. And so I'm just saying, be careful, because what comes up, it could have been false, it could have been a false positive. But, see, do you understand why I'm saying? You don't want other people in the room. It's really important that that's like this. Again, what are we measuring? We're measuring subtle energies. If you're in a room and you've got something to hide, what's that going to do to your subtle energies? Right? We want that to be open, comfortable. They want to know, you want to make your clients know that they're in a safe spot, a safe zone, and whatever transpires in that room between you two is confidential between you two, including the records and the discussions. And always, always, always say, you need to confer this with your doctor. Immediately right there, you break that, any type of bond, thinking that they think that you're their doctor. Okay? All right, so we'll come back and show Inner Voice this afternoon it is so easy to use and so powerful. Okay, let's go now and hit S.E.F.I. You know what S.E.F.I stands for? Subtle Energy Frequency Imprinter. Not very catchy, but that's what it is. These are the programs that you have as of right now. And I'm pretty sure that most people, if I was to ask, have never even used them, or maybe only one or two. These are powerful programs. They're amazing programs. In order for these to be truly effective, you need a S.E.F.I unit. The older S.E.F.I unit was this one. Now, if you have a lab unit, it's built into your lab, which we have on the back table in the back. This is the old S.E.F.I unit. This is the new S.E.F.I unit. Now, I'm going to show you, it's not just a big box. This was the old S.E.F.I. This is the new S.E.F.I. Okay, now, size doesn't always matter, but in this case it does. We pick up all of your subtle energies. We need to amplify them as much as we can without distorting them. This worked good for 10 years, didn't it? It's a good little unit. This is what we build for commercial imprinters. We just made one for a company that imprints all of their lotions. We made them this great big nuclear-like device that uses multiples of these. We thought, well, we've already made it. Why don't we just incorporate it into what we're using? When you amplify those subtle energies, you amplify all that energy in your room. And so if you're not working with a shielded box, you're going to pick up all that energy. I'll give you a story. When we first developed our very first S.E.F.I, we called it the oven. It was about 3 feet square. And we would load all these discs in it, and we would imprint the discs. 11 different programs, and you can see them. They're all out in the lobby. Mel enhancement, feeling mel enhancement, sleep, allergy, pain, moods, energy, super energy. And I'm standing at the front of this thing, and I've just loaded it with 900 boxes. I close the lid, turn on the switch, and I wait the 2 minutes that it takes to imprint. And I did that all day for 9 hours. Pulled out that batch, put in another batch. The next morning, I couldn't get out of bed. I felt like I got the flu. So I says, send Yeshi in and have Yeshi run the machine today. Maybe I'll feel better tomorrow. So she stood in front of that machine all day, swapping out and imprinting. The next morning, she couldn't get out of bed. And that's when it hit us. All of that energy, because the oven was made out of acrylic. And if you know anything about scalar energy, acrylic is completely nothing. It's invisible. So our bodies didn't know if we were a man, a woman, allergies, pain, sleep, energy, whatever, because we'd been bombarded with all of it all day. And it literally took us a couple days to get back on our feet. So then we went to a smaller board that didn't generate as much energy, and we went into a different type of a box. But with this board, this has to be in a stainless steel box, and the box has to be shielded and grounded to where it holds that energy inside. Now this one hasn't been assembled yet, we just got them. But when you open it, you can put whatever you want to imprint on the inside, close it down, and do your imprint. If you're going to say you're going to copy an energy, and we've done this, we had a lady that was on morphine and antidepressants. Did I miss one? We took her medicine. We didn't do it, but the person that had the machine put the medicine on the copy plate, put it into the imprint plate, put a bottle of sugar pills, imprinted it over, and I think to this day she's still on the sugar pills, isn't it? And that's been like...
They put it into liquid.
They put it into liquid, okay. Now, she used to be a really ornery person. Nobody wanted to work with her because whatever you did was wrong. She was angry, she was in pain, and they'd give her the medication, and by noon she was a zombie. Now they give her the medication, and she's happy all day long. But she's not getting medication. Her body doesn't have to deal with all of the other stuff. It was just the imprint. Now that brings up a whole nother Pandora's box of issues. Well, can I get off my blood pressure medicine? Can I get off my diabetic medicine? What are we? We're educators. We're not doctors. So you never would say, oh yeah, get off your medication. Ever. You don't ever say that. That's something you need to discuss with your doctor. But you can take these reports in and let them see. Now, if you go back to our reports, they look a lot more, not exactly, but a lot more like a lab report than any of our competitors. So a doctor may not understand the machine. He might not understand how we got to those numbers, but he can at least see, okay, this makes sense. Yeah, this is how, here's high or low or whatever. He understands that. That is why we did our reporting the way we did. It's so that they can literally take it to a doctor if they want. And people have. In fact, before we could do reports, you were doing them with your iPad. You take your pictures on the iPad and take them to the doctor. So anyways, this is the new SEFI unit. We're breaking up the units into 3 modules. There's going to be the scanner, which is this unit right down here on the table, the SEFI, which is this unit, and then a lab unit, which I don't have here yet. We only have about 12 more of these all-in-one systems. Once those are sold, that we won't make any more of those. We'll continue to support them, but we won't make them anymore. And if somebody wants to go to a modular system, they can buy all 3 pieces. Or they can just buy, let's say you're not going to do much with the SEFI, or you're not going to do anything with the lab. Now you only have to buy just the scanner. And so that's how this whole process is working. So these last 5 months have all been on trying to fine-tune our hardware and work out some of our software issues. We're now comfortable in saying this is where we are and this isn't going to change. There's going to be 3 different modules. You can buy all 3 or you can buy just one, whatever you want to do. So make it a little simpler for you. But your SEFI now is something that is truly commercial grade, something that you could do multiple things with, and we'll talk about this afternoon. Okay, so now that you understand the SEFI, these are the programs for the SEFI. I'm going to ask real quick, Alan, can you take the microphone to Amy? I'm putting you on the spot, Amy, because you said you're using the SEFI.
Well, a little bit. I don't have the unit itself. I don't have the unit. I've been waiting for my individual SEFI unit to arrive, but I have just been playing with the sounds, the tones that come through the headphones, and I have been using this cellular attunement with the inner voice.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And that's been really helpful as far as figuring out maybe some of the emotions and different things that I can help to educate patients on, or clients. And then I've been using some of the affirmations, the chakras, and some of the brain tone. Well, not the brain tones. Yeah, those are the
3
few
that
I
you use? Okay. She's using it because she doesn't have her SEFI unit yet. She's using it as just sound.
Yes.
That sound, when it hits these boards, all the frequencies that were picked up in the inner voice, all the sounds that were picked up. Go ahead and turn off that microphone because it causes feedback. All of the sounds then get converted into the subtle energies. Let me explain how that works. And we have a document that you can take with you, written by Dr. Max Chartland. It explains the history of how frequency medicine came into this early time, starting with Nikola Tesla, Einstein, Hertz, all of those people and the work that they did. But real quick, scalar energy, let's just say I've got the tone middle C on the piano, that frequency. And I play that out and I see this wave, okay? Well, I can also play that tone 180 degrees out of phase. Do you understand what it means? Like when the wave goes up, if I play it again, the same tone, but I start it at 180 degrees later, then those will cross, those two like this will cross. And every time they cross, they create what they call 0 point. And at 0 point is when you actually have your most effective imprint because it creates. 0 point creates. Now, if I just play a tone, just that audio tone into a supplement, yes, it will imprint. And that's pretty much what everybody else does. They just play that frequency into whatever they want to imprint, whether it's sugar pills or a tincture or a watch or a ring. But when you put it in and it's hit with 0 point energy, it's actually created, not imprinted. Does that make sense? Am I losing people on that? When you imprint something, okay, I'll take an example. If I had you listen to a cassette tape, you hear the music, right? But if I take that music and I 0 point it into your body, you become that music. instead of hearing the music. That's the difference between imprinting and creating. So instead of imprinting a frequency on top of something else, you're creating that frequency within something else. So now the potency, if that's the right word, the strength, the effectiveness of that imprint is much, much stronger because it's been created in it rather than superimposed upon it. So a SEFI, what happens, once we generate all those frequencies on the SEFI itself, on the board, that then creates that information. And we have transducers, coils, speakers on both the top and the bottom, 180 degrees out of phase. So what's coming out the top is the same information coming out the bottom, but the top is 180 degrees shifted so that we get that crossing waves. And every time those waves cross is when that creation happens. Okay? So you can take a ring, a bracelet, chewing gum, whatever, put it inside, hit your program. Let's say it's one of the affirmations. Go up and hit, I don't care. Hit health. Well, let's go, okay, we can do these here. So, this is more for, I would go to the health ones for right now. Cancel, and then hit health. So you got somebody that's dealing with arthritis or a cold or an allergy, a cold sore. You can actually put that and imprint that energy right into whatever you put inside the box. Now let's say it's something bigger than will fit in the box. You would put it right on top of this plate because all of the 0 point energy gets transferred to this plate. Okay? Whenever you're imprinting, don't ever put your hand on these two plates up here. Okay? That'll be in your instruction sheet, but I'm telling you right now, do not put your hand on these two plates. They're active. You won't feel anything immediately, but you might go home not sure who and what you are. So don't put your hands on the plates, okay? Okay, the question is, how heavy is the SEFI box? It's probably about 10 pounds.
How much volume can you put on that top, like a gallon?
Oh, I can stand on this box. How much weight can you put on top? I can stand on the box. The box is made out of 316 stainless steel, and it's not anodized because you can't anodize stainless steel, but whatever they do to coat it, it gives it the coating, but it's 316 stainless. And it's double walled so that we have that protection to keep what we've created inside, except for what's inside this or what's sitting on top of that. Okay? So this is how simple it is. You've got somebody that's got a herpes cold sore. Click on herpes. Put your, if it's going to be a lozenge, put the lozenge here. Or better for like a cold sore would be chapstick. Put the chapstick inside, hit the imprint. They automatically stop when they're done. So you don't have to say, well, do I do it 20 seconds? Wait, 30. It stops when it's finished. Okay? Now, that works on all of those different programs we have. That's how easy it is to supplement. I have a competitor that sells just an imprint device with programs, and it's $18,000 just for that system, and there's supportive software. So you've got a tool here that's, I mean, if you're utilizing this stuff, this equipment, you have like 3 or 4 different business models for generating an income. And you can create all of the homeopathics, because you can find in a homeopathic store right here for just the cost of whatever it is you're going to imprint. So instead of sending someone down to a health food store to buy a $15 homeopathic bottle, you can sell it to them for $3 or $4 and make money all day long, or whatever you want to charge for it. I don't care. I'm just giving you a point. So that's the SEFI. Go ahead and hit cancel. Drugs. Click on drugs. This is the only one that makes the pharmaceutical companies nervous. But as long as you say what you're supposed to say and don't say what you're not supposed to say, you've got 1,800 drugs in here that you can imprint. Now, this is an imprint, not a creation, so you're superimposing. But these are already done. This came from Roberto Frosine out of Spain, which is the #1 guy for frequency imprinting. All of these here, now it is their generic or real name, it's not the commercial name. Dr. Labram, you have a...
I have a brief stomach and acid reflux and so forth. As of late, that drug has been very highly implicated in kidney failure and other serious degenerative diseases. So my question is, would the action like to slow down the overproduction of stomach acid still work without the negative side effects on the kidney?
Well, I'm going to tell you first off, that question's way above my pay grade, but I'm going to tell you how I can answer it with what I do understand. First of all, you've got somebody with a medication. You are never going to tell them to swap out this medication for that, #1. Whenever you imprint something, you do not imprint the negative side effects. What makes these, if you listen to any pharmaceutical ad on TV, it's always got the beautiful sceneries and happy, smiling people. But if you listen, this can cause this, and sometimes death, and this. But, you know, might be able to help you with the cost of it. You know, call, see your doctor. What you're imprinting, what causes those issues is the chemicals that are going through your body that the liver now has to process and affects the kidney, the liver, the spleen, the pancreas. All we want is the beneficial frequencies, and that's all we're picking up because the body will just reject the other frequencies. But if I take it as a pill, I can't reject it. It has to go through my GI and through the whole system. So that's why imprint isn't going to cause those negative side effects. Now, having said that, I'm going to have to tell you again, just because it can do that doesn't necessarily mean that you're ready for that your body could accept that the same way the medicine was doing. There is a weaning off process that has to be adhered to. Not only a weaning off process, but your body may be so accustomed to that medication that there's a period of time it takes to make that transition. I would always say, work with your doctor and explain that you want to try some other supplements. Can you work with me to wean off this and go on to this and just make sure I'm not hurting myself?
As a tag to that question is, let's say you want to do that with omeprazole, for example. What kind of medium would you recommend to use on your SEFI tube? The comment in question is, if you wanted to pursue that idea on a medication you suspected to be negative for that person, such as omeprazole as an example, what kind of a medium would you recommend we use to imprint to get that desired effect?
Okay, we're going to show you right now. We, here at the office, we manufacture bottles with sugar pills. We also manufacture bottles with vodka tincture. Vodka tincture is probably one of the easiest things to imprint, but there are a lot of people out there that are adverse to having any alcohol. Glycerin will work. I won't hold it as long, and you're only talking 10%. So if you've got 10 ounces of water, you're only going to put 1 ounce of alcohol in it. And it just stabilizes the molecules in the water so that when the imprint goes in, it holds it much, much longer. If I just take a bottle of water and imprint into it, that water is only going to be good for a couple hours. Anybody that tells you it's going to last longer than that is uninformed. It just will not hold it. Alcohol will make it last almost a week. Okay? So someone that is, let's say, had an issue with alcoholism, and even 10% would not be recommended, then I would switch to glycerin. And glycerin will hold it for a couple days. So that's what we use. Alan's going to bring in and show you. And you don't have to buy them from us. You literally can go down and buy, you know, a vodka, or you can buy sugar pills and make them yourself. So that's what it's about. But that's what we use. Now, another thing that's really effective, maybe even more effective than the tinctures. Here, Alan's got these, so I'll just show you these. So that's our little bottle of the sugar pills. This, by the way, is the equivalent of 8 boron homeopathic tubes. You could pour 8 of those into this bottle. So when we make something like this for them, we charge $10 for this once we've imprinted it, and if they bring us back the bottle and we refill it and re-imprint it, we charge $5. And so, and you know, there's a healthy markup in there. And then this is the bottles we use, and we actually have a blue bottle that has vodka and water, and we have the green bottle, this one, that has brandy and water. And when you're using brandy, if you want to write this down, it's 27% brandy. Okay? 26% brandy, 74% water. We have a question, Alan, over here.
So you need to reprint every week or so?
No, okay, that's a good question. You need to reprint. Let's say that you've got a client you're working with for a period of time. You've got them figured out. You know what you're working on, and you've got it. They have determined this is going to be their protocol for a while. So you don't really have to make a new one. You just keep making new ones of these. And so when they come back in, if they bring us the bottle, we just refill the bottle, put it on the imprint, whatever their remedy was. Did that answer your question?
How long do the sugar pills
A bottle
last?
like this, okay, the question is how long do the sugar pills last? And how often should you use them? That's another question. How many do they take? You will find out what works for you. What I say to the clients that come to me is every time you think about it, your body just told you I need it.
So once you imprint something, it's there. It doesn't just dissipate and get less
On a sugar pill,
strength.
on a sugar pill and on an alcohol tincture, it will hold. And I'm going to let Deanne make this comment, and then I'm going to follow up with that comment because I want to. Go ahead, Deanne. He'll bring you the microphone.
It makes a huge difference how it's stored, whether it's in the light or whether it's cool and in the dark, what your energy is. And you don't take it if you're having a fight and got calm in it and you have a fight with your husband, you just negated what
You're
that is. And so the emotions are really important. I like to use a crystal and then I can fill a 2-quart or a quart, and then we go ahead and imprint the crystal. And that's what we do with my mother. And it was Oxycontin.
Oxycodone, that's right.
And so she doesn't have any of the extreme sleeping or any of the side effects of the drug are not the same side effects when you go ahead and use a crystal, put it in. You can use crystals on that. I've had people that had addictions, sexual addictions, went ahead, put it in a crystal, and it just cut their desire right off. And
Thank
so
you. That's
you can
perfect.
use it for a lot of things. Do your watches, your rings, your wedding rings, clear them, and imprint what you want, because if you get divorced and wear that diamond, you are wearing that negative imprint. So you want to be sure and clear it if you get a new mate. Well, clear anything if you've had a really dramatic negative situation. And then you can empower everything, anything that has an energy, but crystals and stones are very, very helpful.
Thank you. She hit on a couple things that I want to go on again. There used to be a company, I think it was called Ciora, or something like that, selling these little discs. We make the discs too, and they were selling these things that you put on your body, and they'd be imprinted. And they would mail them to you. And the concept is great, everything is great, but if that mailman had a really bad day, I guarantee you don't want those stickers on your body. If they went through a couple x-ray machines from where it left to where it arrived, they're pretty much negated as well. When we imprint our discs are in a foil box. So we imprint them outside the box, put them in the box, so when we ship it to you, they're somewhat protected. Would it protect a really, really bad emotional situation? Probably not. But what she said, which is really important, and goes to Amy's question about how long does it hold. When I imprint something for somebody, I don't even pick it up. I let them pick it up off the machine, okay, so that it doesn't have any of my energy at all. Putting it in a cool, dark place is wonderful. I like to put mine in the refrigerator. It's pretty dark and it's cool. When you're taking it with you, I put it in my pocket, but not in the same pocket that I would have a phone. Okay, remember, it's subtle energies. Ever walked into a room and felt immediately at ease with everybody and you're just comfortable, and then have the converse walk into a room and it's like, where's the door? I want out of here. What's the difference? The energy of the people. Energy is real, it's powerful. You need to treat it as such. You need to treat it as such. When I first developed the S.E.F.I, Deanna introduced me to a lady that does radionic energy, and she's probably one of the leaders that's still alive. She took one look at my S.E.F.I, wouldn't touch my S.E.F.I, said that I was irresponsible in selling, and I really apologize, guys, I'm going to turn this off. Told me I was being irresponsible for selling this device to people who didn't understand it. So I'm trying to teach you to understand it. It is a real energy. The guy that we build the big S.E.F.Is for, he calls it the nuclear reactor, and for good reason. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of powerful energies. I mean, have you ever been in a fight with somebody, especially somebody you love? It's horrible. It's an absolutely horrible feeling. And you go away from that fight down, and it's not something that just switches back on. A divorce, what a horrible thing to carry around, that energy. Just think about the energies out there. So how long will it hold? Depends on how well they take care of it. Okay? Real quick, last one.
Tell them how they can take those pills, because you can't, when you open it, you can't take and say, when you open your bottle, you do not, okay, you don't say, he didn't mention how to take the pills out of the bottle. And you don't take them, if you spill them, you can't put them back in the bottle. If you take them, you take usually 4 every 15 minutes until you see a difference. But you also don't want to go ahead and say, here, put some in your hand and give it to your husband, because it just took on your energy. And I think people don't realize how fragile that energy is, to never open it. So if it opens and spills, you can reprogram those, but you don't, and you can clear it and put new energy in it. And you can also put a photograph on top and go ahead and treat.
Okay.
No, not treat.
Let me come back to that. That's another topic we're going to come to in a second. The point she says is, you don't touch the pills. And if this was a remedy made while you're doing a session, that would be a remedy that was never shared. You wouldn't share that with your spouse or your children. That was made for you specifically. Now, if I'm just going to make a bunch, let's say I sell a lot of pain discs, which we do, or a lot of sleep discs, I could make up a whole case of them and set them on the shelf and then sell those to my clients. That's a generic homeopathic or radionic energy. So like she said, 4 little balls. I generally just, 4 to 6, whatever goes in the cap, and then in my mouth. And these haven't been imprinted, so I'm okay. But the sugar pills are great for that way, and anytime you think about it, just in your mouth. The same with the tinctures. A dropper full is generally what you want, is a dropper full. Now, if let's say that you got home and you're driving home and you get in an accident and everything just went to pot, everybody's unhappy, turn around and go back once your car's fixed, go back and have them re-imprint. See, that doesn't have that energy in it. Okay, is there any questions on that? Okay, let's go back, exit that out and then go back. Emotions, this is another one that's really important. Right now we just have those 5 in. We'll be adding more of those. If you've got someone who's dealing with anxiety or depression, mood support, any of these are powerful. But I would say put it into, if it's a man, put it into his gold wedding ring. If it's a woman, put it into her wedding ring. Deanna talked about crystals, one of the best things it holds. Do you know your phone, everybody that has a phone has a crystal in it. Did you know that? A real piece of crystal. That's what regulates the frequency inside your phone. It's just put into a little metal case with 2 little electrodes that go in and out. Okay, and we do have one question I want to take.
Can you imprint more than one? Can you imprint more than one frequency onto something, or into medicine, or in up to?
Yeah, that's a great question. Can you imprint more? Yes, but again, you'd use common sense. You wouldn't put energy and sleep in the same one. Okay, so just make sure that whatever. No, and I mean, I'm just saying, I've had people do that. So your body doesn't know the difference. All those energies are in. You're putting it in, and it's a conflict. So as long as it's like relaxation, moods, sleep, all of those would be good to put together. If you go in and look at a store-bought homeopathic blend, you'll see as many as 15 remedies in there. I don't recommend that. I think 3 to 5 is ideal. But yeah, you can do that. But see, these are wonderful things to utilize. And they're in your system, and you've got them. Now, people look at it and say, well, it kind of looks cheesy. It's a little silly, the words on the screen. I can make it look really complicated if you want, have all sorts of graphs and bars, and you have to go in and formulate it. Everything for us was to make it simple. Simple. And so instead of showing you how smart we are and how complicated we can make it, we made it really simple. Stupid simple, I like to say. It's that simple. Click on it, and then you would hit imprint. Okay, hit cancel, and then back. The other 2 programs that we have, this is important. Copy and erase. All right, so let's say that I'm going to make, what was your first name? Robin. I was going to make Robin a tincture or a remedy, okay? And we're going to sit down, we're going to do all the scans, all this frequency optimization. We want all that in here, okay? So it's on the machine. The first thing we're going to do is what? Erase. So you'd click on erase, and I think it lasts less than a minute. That erases it. Now you can go in and you start your program, and you would do that at the very beginning. Now we're working with a clean substance that has no energy on it. But let's say, Robin, you picked it up, you went home, you got into a fight with your landscaper, whatever it was, and you're really angry, and the whole time it was in your pocket. You're going to come back, you're going to hand it to me, I'm going to put it back in here, I'm going to erase it and reprogram it. Does that make sense? Okay. So, copy. What do we use copy for? I'm going to take the oxycodone and put it here. I'm going to put my sugar pills or my tincture here. And then once I've erased it, then I hit copy. And a minute later, that's been imprinted. Okay? Okay. Last 2 buttons on your side. Single rad. Now this is where we get into the true voodoo side of this whole stuff. And it's one of the hardest things to explain to people is single rad. Now if I had a picture of somebody on my computer. We do? Okay, click on that box. No, I'm sorry, this box. Okay, Frodo. Put Frodo in there. Open. So that's our client. Now let's say your client's right here. You're going to take the camera. I don't see it here, but the camera that came with your system. You snap right here. Alan's got the camera. You're going to have them sit there, and you want a picture from here to here. Just this, and preferably against a solid wall. I don't want all the pattern on the wall, okay? And no electrical. All right, so then we're going to send Frodo an affirmation. All right, well, but see, there's something wrong with that picture. Too many people, I got too much stuff going on. Let's just go back to Frodo. But you see, you can take a picture, it saves the picture. Once you got your picture, then you can type in the affirmation. Health, wealth, prosperity, kindness, whatever. You just type it. You don't need punctuation, just a space. So health. So maybe 3 or 4 or 5 different little affirmations put in. Once that's done, that's good. Over here, if we click on this box, and then you need to go up. Here, let me let Alan, I'll let you go back. You don't have to keep working for it. Thanks. A fractal is like a hologram. If you take a little tiny piece of a fractal and open it up, there's the whole picture. Take a little piece, there's the whole picture. Fractals are wonderful for holding and transmitting energy. That's all it's for. And so we have, I think, we have like 24 different fractals. And I'll just scroll down the list and say, just whichever one you're drawn to. And don't think about it. Just say, oh, I like that one. That's the one we put in, because it really doesn't make any difference. All it is an amplifier. All right, we've got our client's picture put in. Whatever the affirmation that we want to send to them, it might be pain-free or happiness or something, depending on what they're dealing with. A fractal puts its energy in.
Does everybody notice how the color changed after we chose the fractal person and the affirmation? It was red, but then when we put in health, happiness, we chose the fractal and the person, it chose a different color.
And then see that little symbol there that looks like a music note? That starts the program. And if you click on the graphic down here, the animated one, click on the animated one. This one right here. Oh, it's not going to let you do it. Okay, we'll just stop for here. All right, that now is being sent through the ether. And that's the hardest thing to explain to somebody. You're sending that to somebody, and they're receiving it. I'll give you an example. My son was he was in his exams at the university. And he calls us up the night before and he says, I have the worst feeling about this. I do not understand my chemistry. I cannot remember my math. He says, I'm just drawing blanks. I didn't say anything to him. We just says, you're going to do okay. Just go in, be calm. You'll be fine. You'll do fine. We took his picture. We imprinted memory, instant recall, focus, calm, peace, love, and gratitude. Those were the things we typed in. And we sent it to him for 20 minutes. That's all. He aced every single test except for one. He got a 97. Now, was it this? I don't know. That is your call. Point is when, like I said in the very beginning, how many of you pray? Is prayer real? Can we quantify it? Can we touch it? No. So like Daniel says, this is electronic prayer, and I think it's an appropriate title for it. But that's how it is. So what Alan has showed you here is multi. It's the same as the single, except you can do 4 people.
We have 4 rows.
Yeah.
So 16 in your immediate and extended family. Pick out what each one of them needs. Use the fractal and leave it on. Go home.
I would recommend that you go home, those of you who have this, and just test it. It will blow you away. Absolutely blow you away, even if you don't believe in it. Okay, I have a question. You did it for what?
Earwigs in my garden.
Really? You did it for ear, and did they leave?
Yes.
See, I love that. I love those stories. Okay. So this is your dashboard. This is where you start everything in your program. And we're getting almost time to take a break. Do you see how loaded this thing is? You've got so many tools in this toolbox. Get used to your toolbox. Play with those tools. Know the difference between a lug wrench and a tire iron. You know, learn these tools, use them. Your clients will benefit, you'll benefit. We take a break here. Does anybody has any questions? You need some clarity.
Can I add something?
Real quick.
On those fractals, you can also put it on the pills, and they will make it so that it will be like the alcohol that
Yep.
helps to hold better.
Yep.
And you can put it on the crystals and then put the ranks of frequencies, and that is all working on scalar energy.
Okay, this is a really good point. I wasn't going to bring this up, but that's a really good point. You can go online and you can buy stickers that have sacred geometry symbols on them. You can buy them, and they're cheap. Buy a bunch of those, put that on a bottle, and you're right, that will, I know it sounds crazy, but it really does help in the holding of a frequency. Any sacred geometry symbols, just get a sticker, put it on the bottle. Now, is it going to be as effective as the alcohol? I don't know, but I know it does help.
I'm sorry, I wanted to say one thing out there. If you don't believe that would actually work, do the symbol with water, put it in the freezer, and you'll see the ice crystals form. That's the way that symbol is made.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so